Ladies and gentlemen, before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Claire Wijaya, and I am from Angelus Custos 2 Catholic Junior High School. And today, I will take you back to one of Indonesia's greatest moments of heroism, the Battle of Surabaya in 1945. At that time, our nation, young and struggling for independence, faced a powerful enemy. A young man stood at the forefront of the commotion, whose voice was turned into a weapon more powerful than bullets. His name was Bung Tomo. With his passionate radio orations, Bung Tomo rallied the Surabaya people to rise, fight, and give everything up for freedom. His courage and oratory turned fear into courage and unity into action. The story you're about to hear is not one of a fight. It's one of spirit, of leadership, and the power of one voice in bringing a nation to its feet. This is the story of Bung Tomo, the voice of freedom in Surabaya. The sun rose on a tense morning in Surabaya. It was November 10th, 1945, an important and unforgettable moment in Indonesia's fight for independence. The air was heavy with the smell of smoke, gunpowder, and fear. Streets, once filled with the chatter of traders and children, now echoed with distant gunfire and hurried footsteps. The Dutch and British, determined to restore colonial control after the proclamation of independence, had returned with tanks, warships, and soldiers. Amidst the storm stood a young activist, whose name would forever echo in history, Bung Tomo. Bung Tomo was not a general, nor did he wield a sword or a rifle as his main weapon. He was a man of words, of conviction, and of extraordinary courage. His voice, broadcasted through radios scattered across Surabaya, became the fire that lit up the hearts of thousands. To the colonial powers, it was just sound, carried on the airways. But to the people, it was the sound of defiance, the call of unity, and the promise of dignity. Standing on a makeshift platform in front of a restless sea of faces, Bung Tomo raised his hand and shouted, "Brothers and sisters, today we do not fight only for independence. We fight for our dignity, our honor, and we all together will never let our land be taken from us again." His words of encouragement incited a flame in the hearts of Surabaya. They were full of courage, ready to reclaim their homeland. For days, Bung Tomo's orations poured strength into weary souls. The British army, equipped with superior weapons, expected an easy victory. Yet, every corner of Surabaya turned into a fortress of resistance. The people, untrained but united, stood shoulder to shoulder against the tanks and guns of an empire. "Do not let us be torn apart by fear," Bung Tomo cried in another broadcast. "We are one nation, one soul, and one destiny. Better to fall as free men than live as slaves." The battle was fierce. Flames consumed buildings, bombs shook the earth, and the cries of the fallen filled the air. Yet, through the chaos, Bung Tomo's voice never wavered. His speeches were carried through radios hidden in homes and broadcasted in secret gatherings. Even when hope seemed dim, his voice and words kept the spirit alive. The fight came at a devastating cost. Thousands of Surabaya's sons and daughters sacrificed their lives. The city was left in ruins, its streets littered with the memories of bravery and loss. Bung Tomo himself wept for the fallen, but he knew their sacrifice was not in vain. The world watched Surabaya, and the battle became a turning point. It showed the world that Indonesia's independence, proclaimed just months earlier, was not mere words on paper. It was a living fire that its people were ready to defend with blood and soul. Years later, when the smoke of the war had cleared and Surabaya stood as a free nation, the memory of Surabaya remained immortal. November 10th became Heroes' Day, a reminder of the courage that once turned an ordinary city into the heart of the resistance. And at the center of that story stood Bung Tomo. Though his life after the battles took many turns, his name endured as a beacon of unity. He proved that sometimes the most powerful weapon is not the sword or the gun, but the voice that awakens courage in others. His legacy whispered a lesson across generations that freedom is not given, it is fought for, and that even in the darkest times, the human spirit can rise above fear. Today, as the sun dips down behind the skyline of modern Surabaya, where skyscrapers stand, where ruins once lay, Bung Tomo's spirit still lingers. In the quiet, one can almost hear his voice echoing across time. As long as we live, we must live free. And so, the story of Bung Tomo continues, not just in books, not just in ceremonies, but in the hearts of every Indonesian who dares to dream of a nation that is brave, united, and free. And that is all for my story. Thank you.